Now, most of us, I mean, the carbs are cheaper, so most about why you should not avoid carbs to lose weight or to reduce hypertension and all of those things. Why are we saying we shouldn't avoid carbs? The thinking was that carbs are bad and we should avoid them, and there's so much of a fuss. I mean, it's almost as if when you're eating carbs, you're eating the devil, you know. So that's what we are here for. At exactly 8 p.m. I'm going to start the discussion on whether or not to avoid carbs. I've already answered it. I always answer these things before I even start so that you have an idea what we're going to talk about. So the answer is no, you should not avoid carbs. And of course, I had to do this to my top so that you can see these babies, and you've been seeing my post, so you know I'm not avoiding carbs, and that's what we're here to talk about. Should we avoid carbs or not? The answer is no. At exactly 8 p.m. we're starting, so stay with us, do not go anywhere, and maybe you just admire the babies. But I'm so excited that they are back. This is not with exercise. Okay, so what I've been doing is I do 100 skips, and I stick with 100 because I know me, you know, man, know thyself. It is what is consistent that will work. If it's not consistent, it won't work. So 100 skips, free skips. I don't even have a rope. So I do it in my bedroom. I do it in front of my mirror. I make sure that I'm looking the way I like to see me. So it's in my privacy, and I'm doing it in front of my mirror so that each jump gives me an idea what I could look like if I trimmed. And that motivates me to keep going. So I do that 100. Even if I can do more, I do not. I never do more than 100. And then I do 10 sit-ups and then 10 squats, and then I'm done. So that's what I've been doing every day since the beginning of the No Carb April challenge. I haven't gone to the gym, so typically I would have done weights, but I gained too much weight. And when you gain weight, you do not lose it at the gym. The gym is not for weight loss, really. It's for toning. Sometimes it's even for weight gain. So when we have lost the fat, which of course we are in the process of doing, then we can head to the gym and then get that body banging. So yeah, 5 minutes more and we start. Should we avoid carbs? The answer is no. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to lose weight. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to control hypertension. Should we avoid carbs? No. And that's why we are here. We're going to discuss that. I cannot wait to hear me start because this is so controversial. You're supposed to be a keto coach, and keto says no carbs, and you're saying we should eat carbs. But that is the kind of question I have been answering since the beginning of my program in the keto camp. So you have campers come to you, and the expectation is that they won't be eating any carbs, and then you're asking them to eat carbs, and they're like, ooh. And then, especially because you are taking money, some of them have reservations because it's like, is she doing this so that she can keep me in her camp and keep taking my money? So that's what we're here for. Should we avoid carbs? No. Please stay with us. In 5 minutes, we will start. We said 8, so we're definitely going to start at 8. And of course, we're going to upload it on the profile for those of you who are not able to see later. I'm so excited with my progress. Like, it's been slow, but it's been steady. And it's taught me so many lessons. Lesson number 1, you cannot cheat nature. Lesson number 2, is that diet and exercise is a lifestyle. You stop. Once you snooze, you lose. You know, I mean, you stop for a few minutes and the aging is catching up with you. You're looking like your age. I mean, I had my little brother tell me, you're looking like your age for the first time, and I could have killed him. You know, but it is what it is. These people, they don't respect us, brothers and sisters and all of that. But it's always a wake-up call to realize that you too can gain weight. So keto coach, I gained it. I gained so much weight, so that I had to do this year with you. The advantage, the rainbow in that storm is that everyone gets to be a part of my journey. Everyone gets to enjoy the things, or most of the things that campers also enjoy. So we are in this together. We're doing the No Carb April challenge together. This is my progress report. I just had to show you because I'm proud of myself. What time is it? Okay, so we still have a few minutes before we start. I'm so proud of myself. I mean, if you saw me when I was announcing the No Carb April challenge, my arms, but I'm proud of myself. I have come this far. So, in just about 3 minutes, we will start. Should we avoid carbs? Are carbs such a bad idea? What's the fuss about them? Why is there so much noise about carbs, and why is everyone trying to avoid it? Why are we suddenly making it look like our staple is such a bad idea? I mean, our staple has always been fufu, kenke, yam, and now it's like it's such a bad idea. What's the reason? Should we really avoid them or not? And the answer is no. Do not avoid carbs. So in just a few minutes, I said 8, so I'm definitely going to start at 8. Before then, it's just chit chat. It's just me flaunting. Flaunt. Oh dear. Yeah. So at 8, of course, I'm going to stop all this nonsense because it's nonsense, and then I will start with real business. So it's just about 2 minutes to 8, and then we start. Stay with me, do not go anywhere. Let's discuss why the keto coach is asking you to not avoid carbs. This has to be interesting. Yeah. You look, I know, thank you. I look great. Thank you. I see it too, and I'm excited about it. It's been the No Carb April challenge, and I'm so happy with the progress so far. Thank you, Josephine. So it's just a minute and then we start. Of course, when we start, we are going back to serious business, and so we are not going to have all of this showing. I mean, you have to just listen to me, pay attention, and do not admire these babies that I admire. Yeah, so a minute more and we start. Should we avoid carbs? What's the fuss? Why is there so much noise where carbs are concerned? Are they such a bad thing? Then why did God create them? Really? Why do we even eat them if they are such a bad idea? The answer is that they are not. The answer is that you should not avoid carbs. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the next 1 minute. Yeah. Edushum, I see you. Thank you. Stay with us. Do not go anywhere. In just about a minute, we will start. Should we avoid carbs? No. Have I been avoiding carbs? No. Do we avoid carbs in my camp? No. Do we achieve ketosis in my camp? Yes. And that is what Keto Camp is about. That's what my keto coach is about. So your keto coach teaches you how to eat your regular foods and still achieve ketosis, still achieve weight loss. Because you should not avoid carbs. All right, so in just a few seconds, we will be starting. If you haven't been part of the No Carb April challenge, you see, you yourself see. I mean, it's not much knowing me because I've had better days. But considering where I've come from, just a month ago when I was announcing the No Carb April challenge, you saw me. You saw my arms, and they were all over the place. I mean, everything was all over the place. But the No Carb April challenge has been a saving grace for me. So if you haven't been with us since we started, we still have a week and a few more days to go. This month is still not done yet. It's just 19th out of 30 days. So join us. Even if it's just 10 days, join us, because it's really a great thing to not. Okay, so it's time, yes. Should we avoid carbs? No, I told you, once it's serious business, we are stopping all of this, and then we are going back to seriousness. So yeah, what's the buhaha? Why is there so much of a fuss about carbs? Why is everyone talking against carbs? I have answered the question. You should not avoid carbs. Now I'm going to talk about why there's so much of a fuss about carbs. What is wrong with carbs? I'm going to start with that, and then I'll tell you why you should still not avoid carbs regardless. All right. So basically, carbohydrates have sugars. We get energy. So for some of us, when we're in class 3, or depending on the kind of schooling system, we were taught energy-giving foods. Remember? We had protective foods, energy-giving foods, and there was another one. Protective foods, energy-giving foods, and something. If you remember, please put in the comment section. I cannot remember, but there were 3. And energy-giving foods were basically carbohydrates and fats and oils. Now, most of us, I mean, the carbs are cheaper, so most of us have been depending on glucose, which is what is in carbs, or which is what the end product of the breakdown of carbohydrates is, for energy. And so we eat carbohydrates, and even those foods that are not particularly carbohydrate based, so things like vegetables, things like some fruits. Well, let me just stick with vegetables, because that's when people get surprised the most. I mean, even vegetables and proteins have glucose. Did you know that? Yes, even vegetables and proteins have glucose. So almost everything we eat has glucose, but some foods are known to have a larger amount of glucose. And so carbohydrate foods have glucose. And that is what the breakdown of carbohydrates gives us. And this glucose is metabolized, and then it provides us with energy. So the energy we have to think, to do, is from glucose for most of us. Now, ketogenesis, in the ketogenic diet or ketogenesis, is about deriving energy from the breakdown of fats and oils instead of the breakdown of carbs, which is glucose. So now you are moving away from breaking down glucose to breaking down fat. And it's an amazing idea, because most of the time you've already built up some fats. You have some buildup of fat. So it's not just about what you're eating that you're breaking down, but you're also breaking down your body's fat to give you energy. And so when you start a ketogenic diet, what you're doing is, hello body, do not break down carbs for energy anymore. So I'm not going to give you enough to even be able to break down and get energy. So you're going to have to depend on the fat I have and the fat I'm eating to get energy. That's what the ketogenic diet is about. If that is the case, then it means that for someone who is already obese, or someone who already has a lot of fat, it doesn't matter whether you avoid the carbs completely or not to break down your body's fat. Are you getting me? And so what we do in my keto camp is that we still eat our carbs, we still eat our regular foods, but then now we change the portions. And we usually, so depending on who you are, we may half the portion, or even sometimes make you take 2/3 of your usual portion, so that the body is still depending on itself for energy, breaking down its fat for energy. We do not do calorie counts in my keto camp. So this is not about calorie count at all. All of this is about the breakdown of glucose or fats for energy. Now, the reason everybody is so against carbohydrates, myself inclusive, so don't get me wrong, I'm saying don't avoid carbs, but it doesn't mean I'm for carbs. So let's pay attention, and then we'll understand more as we go. So the reason almost everyone is against carbs, or at least almost every doctor is against carbs, myself inclusive, is that carbs are like the driving force. They are like the main mediator for inflammation. And every condition, every chronic illness, every acute illness starts with inflammation. Okay, so before you get sick, there's inflammation. It is the inflammation that makes you get sick. It is through the inflammatory process that your body's immune system, your body's soldiers, immune mediators will come into play, and then you even have a fever. So the fever is actually a result of the immunity. When you have a fever, you have a high temperature, it's your body telling you that my soldiers are still working, my soldiers are still active. So fever is good where illnesses are concerned, because it tells us that the body is fighting. And it is during this inflammatory process that the immune system is awakened, and everybody comes to try and fix what is happening so that you can get better. Then it means, so that's for acute conditions where you're going to get better. It's still inflammation. When it's chronic means it's not going anywhere. It's come to stay. And most of the chronic conditions, by the way, I hope I'm not speaking too fast. I tend to do that a lot. Most of the chronic conditions, by the way, we were born with. That's another thing most people do not know. So if I have hypertension, it's not that I developed the hypertension out of the blue today. For most people, right from the time they were born, they were going to have hypertension. So you already have a predisposition, a genetic predisposition. That's why the family history is important. So that's why someone can tell you that, oh, my mom has hypertension, my dad has hypertension, therefore the chance that I can have hypertension is high. Now, during life, depending on your lifestyle or your behaviors, and when we say lifestyle here, we are basically talking about eating and exercise, diet and exercise. Depending on how you go about it, you can have your hypertension way later in life, or never. You probably will die and you'll never be diagnosed with hypertension. Or you can have your hypertension when you're 22, which is what we are seeing these days. These days, it is no longer people who are over 45 that are being diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes. People who are 30s, people in their 30s are being diagnosed. People in their late 20s are being diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes. And then it tells us that there's something wrong with our diet. It's not like in the olden days, so we should wake up. Everything that happens to you in your body, remember, inflammation. Everything that's going on in your body that is not right, that is not normal physiology, is because of what you're putting into the system. What you put in is what you get back. So when we say that we are what we eat, it's not a lie. We are really what we eat. If I gain weight, and usually it shows. I mean, when I gained weight, it was crazy. I had a doctor tell me to lose weight, and it was so embarrassing because it's me. And I've been about weight loss like all my life, But it is what you are eating. It is how you are eating. It is the times you are eating. And so, yeah, that's what carbohydrates do to us. They are the driving force of inflammation. And inflammation is what has to happen for us to have any illness. So cancer, diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, all of those things are mediated by carbohydrates. So that is why almost all doctors are so against carbs. That's why everyone is trying to reduce the portions of carbs that you're eating. Okay? Now, still on why there's so much of a fuss about carbs, apart from inflammation, the other thing about carbohydrates, which is me, now I'm coming to the point. So I'm coming to why we are here today. The other thing about carbohydrates is they are simple sugars. So remember, I said that for most of the carbohydrate meals, after the breakdown, after the digestion, it is broken down into glucose. Okay, so we have simple sugars and complex sugars. Some foods are such that it takes a very long time before the food is broken down to glucose. That is what the complex carbs are. So complex carbs, examples of complex carbs would include wheat, oats, yam, potatoes, millet, etc. Okay, corn, etc., maize, etc. And then there are simple sugars. The thing about simple sugars is it doesn't take long before it's broken down. Remember, you eat, it's broken down or digested into sugar. How much time it takes to be broken down into sugar tells us how much time it takes for whatever you have eaten to reflect in your blood, for us to know that your blood sugar has raised. So if it's a simple sugar, if it's a simple carb you eat, so simple carbohydrates are the ones that have simple sugars. If that's what you eat, like things like pastries, bread, cake, pie, overly processed foods, so those ones are such that it doesn't take a very long time for the breakdown to happen. And so in a very short time, you have glucose. It doesn't take long at all. And the blood is filled with the glucose in that moment. So there are spikes, there are peaks. Too many peaks of blood, increased blood glucose in your system. And the thing about the peaks is, because it doesn't take long for you to get the glucose, it also doesn't take long for you to lose the glucose. And so it doesn't take long for you to get hungry again. So in my camp, you hear me say things like, or if you're close to me, you hear me say things like, I'm not going to waste my carbs on this. So that's what I mean by you are eating carbs anyway, But be careful what you want to waste your carbs on. So it's a waste of carbs if it's cake, because whether or not I eat the cake, I am increasing my blood sugar, but I'm also not getting much, because in a few minutes I'm going to get hungry again. I'm going to need food again. So before I know it, someone that should have taken about maybe 50 grams of carbohydrates in a day, I'm doing about 100 and I'm still not satisfied. And this happens in clinic all the time. You have patients tell you, I don't even eat and I'm gaining weight. And what they mean by they don't eat is in the morning they take tea and pie. And then in the afternoon, they probably will take a snack, maybe some cake or some pie or something. And then in the evening, they'll eat rice. Or in the evening, they'll eat yam. Most people have this kind of lifestyle. And so in their minds, they are not eating. But what's happening with the blood sugar is there are so many spikes. Okay, so the other thing about carbohydrates is, what kind of carbohydrates am I eating? Is it a complex type or a simple type? If it's a complex type, it means that it takes a very long time before it is broken down into glucose. And so you are satisfied for a while. Some foods take water, things like kenke. You eat kenke and you are satisfied for a very long time. So that's what makes you know that it is a complex carbohydrate you have eaten. But you take something like cake and in a few minutes, you're hungry again. So it's a simple carbohydrate you have taken. So that's the first thing. The other thing that I should talk about is the time you are eating the carbs. I mentioned that when you eat the carbs, or whatever it is you are eating, including vegetables. So I've already mentioned, those of you who were not here earlier, that even vegetables have carbs. So after the breakdown of whatever you have eaten, after the digestion of whatever you have eaten, we are going to get some glucose from that food. Okay. Now, the time you are eating. If you ate at, say, 10 a.m., and the nature of your work, so most people who are battling with these chronic conditions, including obesity, have a sedentary lifestyle. Sedentary lifestyle here means that they are usually seated, and the best they can do for themselves is calculate their steps. So they try to walk, so they park from at a far distance and try to walk. They try to walk about in the office, but their life is basically sedentary. And so for such a person, most of the energy you are generating from the carbs you are eating, from the glucose you have taken, so the glucose goes into your blood, and then your heart will pump it to various parts of your organs and your bodies, especially the brain, so that you can have energy to do things. The organ that needs the most energy is the brain. This is why when you're hungry, one of the first things that will happen is you fall. You have to fall so that blood will be moved straight to your head, to your brain, because the brain cannot shut down. Everything else can shut down, but the brain. You cannot be brain dead because of hypoglycemia. I want to be like you when I grow. Jennifer, thank you. I want to be like you too when I grow. Thank you. So yes, the time you are eating is important. So we know that we are eating carbohydrates. We know that the carbohydrates will be broken down into glucose after the digestion has happened, and I'm going to mention that too later. So yeah, just so that I don't lose my train of thought. So after the digestion happens, it's broken down into glucose. Glucose is in our blood, and then the heart pumps this blood to various organs of the body: the liver, the kidney, the heart, the brain, to provide energy so that those organs can work. And the organ that is most important, the organ that needs the most energy, is the brain. So if you have a sedentary lifestyle, it means that you're using your brain for the energy. Most people who are in offices get tired because of brain activity. You're using your brain most of the day. And this is why you should eat your carbs early. Do not wait and get home. And then you're sitting in front of the TV. There's not much brain activity going on. You're just chatting, and you're just staying and everything. And then in a few hours, you go to bed. You're going to gain weight if you do that. You're going to end up with diabetes and hypertension if you do that. So by all means, do not avoid carbs. And I'm going to go into why we should not avoid carbs. This part has been about why there's so much of a fuss about carbs. What is it about carbs? And why is everyone against it? So, including me, against it. So, though I'm saying do not avoid carbs, I'm not saying that I'm not against carbs. But eat your carbs in a smart way. So you know you have a sedentary life, eat your carbs early, and then eat complex carbohydrates so that it takes you through the day. The other advantage of this is it reduces cravings. So you eat a complex carbohydrate, it takes you through the day. You're not hungry, you're not craving for anything because really you're eating enough carbs for the day. And this is more important. These cravings are more important. Again, I'm speaking too fast. These cravings are more important for people who are transitioning into a reduced carbohydrate diet because their diet was basically carb based before they started any fitness journey or any fitness lifestyle. It's better to do it in the morning. As much as possible, eat your carbs early so that the energy that is derived from that glucose that's produced can work. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, it's going to go back into becoming fat. And that's how we get fat. It's just as simple as that. Now, the other thing is, where is carbohydrate digested? Carbohydrate digestion occurs in the mouth. So by all means, do not eat fast. If you have to be talking with someone or watching a movie or reading a book or reading some journal or something while you're eating, please indulge. Don't eat fast. Don't be in a hurry to finish that meal. A lot of people see eating as a chore, as some pleasurable activity, as some leisure, as some, there's no time for food. Some people have that kind of toxic positivity and they feel like there's no time for food, there's no time for sleep. But these are the things that help you with your fitness lifestyle. These are the things that help you lose weight. Food and sleep. To lose weight, you must prioritize food. You cannot lose weight if you are not a foodie. So those of you who say I'm a foodie, therefore I cannot lose weight, you're getting it wrong. The fact that you're a foodie on its own gives you an advantage. It puts you ahead of everyone else. It is just how you're going about it. I mean, you must be a foodie to plan your meals, to think about what you're going to eat. So that's the advantage you have if you're a foodie. Okay, so the time you're eating is important. The kind of things you're eating is important where carbs are concerned. And then how you are eating. Carbohydrates is digested in the mouth. The enzyme that breaks down carbohydrates is found in the saliva. So once it gets out of the mouth, there's not much digestion going to happen. And if it hasn't been broken down, you can't do anything with it. It will just be converted to fat. Remember I said that even vegetables have glucose after the breakdown. So it's the same with carbohydrates. After the breakdown, it's not only glucose you are going to get. You're going to get some fats and oils. So once it hasn't been broken down, everything now becomes the fats and oils. And then you're going to gain weight. So eating slowly is important. Another thing about eating slowly is because carbohydrates is digested in the mouth. When you eat slowly, you tend to get full faster. You get to feel satisfied faster. So that is it. I should be rounding up so that I take questions. So now back to what I have been saying. So yes, I'm against carbs. No, I'm not saying avoid carbs. What I'm saying, however, is by all means, eat complex carbohydrates. Eat slowly. Eat early so that your body can work with the energy that has been produced from that carbohydrate meal. So I had a lot of people talk about, people come onto in my DM all the time saying, how are you saying it's keto if you're eating rice? How are you saying it's keto if you're eating cake? How are you saying it's keto when you're eating ice cream? It's about the portions. And if you're using your urine sticks, you realize that you're actually achieving ketosis because just by reducing the portions and your body having to fall on fat for energy, you're going to achieve ketosis. So it's just that. I think that should be it. I will take questions at this point. I want to end at exactly 8:30. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them. What have I said so far? Am I one of those doctors that is against carbs? Yes. Am I asking you to avoid carbs because you want to lose weight or manage hypertension or diabetes? No. Why? Because it's not sustainable. because you want to do something you can continue. You want to do something you can maintain. You want to do something that is not a one-day show. Fitness is a lifestyle. I am an example of that. You stop, everything goes back to square one. You want to achieve agelessness. You want to age beautifully. You want to avoid infections and chronic illnesses and all of that. It is what you're eating that will make a difference. You want to look good, it's in the gym. You want to lose weight, it's in your kitchen. So by all means, do eat those carbs if you are hypertensive or diabetic, but eat complex carbohydrates. Eat early so that you can use what you have eaten, and chew slowly because carbohydrates is digested in the mouth. So that should be all. I am happy to take questions if there are any. I don't see any questions here, so please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, that would be all. How healthy is Ghanaian salad? By that, yes, great. By this, I mean the green salads with list of protein. I was hoping that by this part. So I am assuming, keeping it stellar, I'm assuming you mean things like lettuce, cabbage, right? It's healthy. So yes, your question even draws my attention to one other thing. People are always asking me, can I take this? Can I take that? Is this healthy? Is that healthy? God created food for us to enjoy food. Everything is healthy. The difference is in how much and how often and what time you are eating them. So if I said, for instance, that the Ghanaian salad is healthy, and is it healthy to have salad? It's amazing. That's what I was going to say, keeping it stellar. What you should do is to eat that salad in the evening. Yes, that's what I was going to say. So if I said, for instance, that yes, salad is healthy, and all you were eating was salad, that is not healthy. You need to balance it. So that's why I'm never too quick to answer that question, is it healthy? It is healthy depending on the portions, the times, the amounts that you are eating. Okay, so yes, otherwise I think I would have answered your question. It is healthy to eat lettuce, cabbage, carrots. Some people would add sweet corn. It's not smart to add sweet corn if you're eating it in the evening, because remember, sweet corn is carbohydrates, and we said we want to eat our carbs early. Yeah, lots of protein. It's not smart to eat too much protein. So again, know yourself. Where are you coming from? Who have you been before this lifestyle change? Okay, so the kind of person you were was the person who was eating one egg every week because you believed in that school of thought that you shouldn't eat too many eggs in a week, which I don't buy into anyway. But when you're coming from that, remember, your body is used to something. So progress slowly. Give your body time to adjust with the changes you are making so that you can tolerate the new diet. That is how most people start a diet, and in a few days they are back to square one and they say they can't do it. Because you are starting too giddy. It's too fast. You are putting too much pressure on yourself. So if you are taking lots of protein because you have been taking lots of protein already, there are people who are on a high protein diet because they have one condition or the other. That is medically approved. But if you are taking a lot of protein because you've started a new diet and you're sick keto, you're saying no carb diet, until all I eat now is proteins, that is not smart. That is not smart at all. Okay. All right. And you don't want to end up with gout. You don't want to end up, so ACG, I'll get to you soon. You don't want to end up with gout. You don't want to end up having one condition because you are avoiding another. That we are saying have a lifestyle change. Does not mean go and get ulcer or go and get stomach problems. That is not it. So progress slowly into the whole thing. When we started the No Carb April challenge, for instance, I was telling you, so as many of you as were following or are following, that start by reducing your carb portions. Maybe week 1 you can do, say, 2/3 or half. Week 2 you're doing even less. Week 3, which is now, you're avoiding them completely. And then week 4 you can decide to add intermittent fasting. Progress slowly. Enjoy the process. Like yourself enough to enjoy the process that you are undergoing. Don't be too much in a haste to move away from who you are today so that you can be someone else tomorrow. That never works. Okay, so ACG5 is fufu healthy. Again, it's the same answer. It can be yes, it can be no. Now, it is yes if you are eating at the right time, you are eating the right portions, and you are eating in the right way. What do I mean by right way? What else are you eating that day apart from the fufu? Also, what else are you eating during that month apart from the fufu? Is the fufu all you are eating all month? Is the fufu all you are eating all week? You get it. So that is how we know that something is healthy or not. Otherwise, one food item alone cannot be branded as unhealthy. It's unfair to the food. Don't do that to food. Let's not brand any food as unhealthy. All right, keeping it Stella, I'm happy I've answered you. Yeah. If you're already diabetic or you're trying to reduce your carbs even more, it's smart to do more plantain if you're doing fufu. If you don't want to be doing those cabbage fufu and all those funny things that I don't buy into, by the way, it's better to do more plantain and less cassava or cocoyam or whatever it is you're adding. Yeah. Any other questions? It's almost time anyway, so if there are any other questions, I will take them. Otherwise, so what has been happening with most of us, especially when the men, especially when we get married, the only time your wife can actually make you enjoy her meal is when you get back from work. That's what a lot of people say to me. So it's like, what do I do? Because otherwise I can't cook for my husband. What to do is prepare ahead of time so that he can take the food to work if it's possible. Okay, so if you think there's a possibility that he can take his food to work, you can cut the yam and put it in water and put it in the fridge. That's what I do. Cut out your yam, wash it, everything, prepare it, everything is ready, it's in the fridge. And then in the morning, you just boil it. And then you can add the stew, which should have been in the fridge already as well. But if it's the kind of person that wants fresh food all the time, then my darling, you may have to wake up earlier if you want to do it for him. I mean, it's your choice. But do not use that as an excuse and give him a pot belly just because he got married to you. Let's not do that to our poor husbands. Okay. All right. So, if there are no other questions, it's almost a few minutes and then we are ending. I hope you've enjoyed the session. I've enjoyed you as well. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, this will be posted on my profile for as long as possible so that those of you who were not able to see the beginning would be able to see it. In the beginning, I was flaunting my abs because I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I've come so far after all that weight that I gained. And I've learned so many lessons that I cannot wait to share with you where weight gain is concerned. So many lessons, so many humbling experiences. I had someone ask me, Kito Negu, after I